The stars were quiet when the Calistron ships appeared. Black hulls stretched for miles, covered in sharp angles and glowing weapons. Their war fleet looked like death itself, moving through space toward Earth's blue marble. The humans had been watching them come for 3 weeks. Everyone on the planet knew what was happening. Another alien empire had come to take their home. Captain John Mitchell sat in his chair on the bridge of USS Columbus. The ship was nothing compared to the monsters heading their way. His crew moved around him, checking systems and running diagnostics. Lieutenant Lisa Martinez sat at her station, headphones on, fingers dancing across the communication panel. She had been trying to reach the aliens for days. "Any luck, Martinez?" John asked. "They're ignoring every frequency, sir. Won't even send back static." John rubbed his face and looked at the main screen. The alien ships grew larger every hour. Every military base on Earth was on alert. Every weapon system was ready. But everyone knew it wasn't enough. These ships could destroy their entire planet with ease. "Sir," called out Jeff Wilson from Tactical. "They're slowing down. Looks like they're positioning for attack formation." John's stomach dropped. This was it. In his mind, he had always thought first contact would be different. Maybe there would be talking. Maybe peace. But these aliens didn't want to talk, they wanted Earth. "Open all channels," John ordered. "All of them." "Yes, sir," Lisa said. Her fingers flew over the controls. "We're broadcasting on every frequency humans know." "Recording?" "Yes, sir. Everything we send is being recorded." John took a deep breath. If he was going down, he was going down his way. "Attention, alien fleet. This is Captain John Mitchell of the United Earthship Columbus. We have noticed your rather impressive collection of warships. Very nice. Must have cost a fortune." The bridge crew looked at him with wide eyes. Jeff's mouth fell open. "Before you start shooting, maybe we could settle this another way. How about a knock-knock joke?" Lisa nearly fell out of her chair. "Sir?" "Knock-knock," John said into the microphone. Static filled the speakers. Then a deep voice responded in perfect English. "What is knock-knock?" The entire bridge went silent. They were talking. Actually talking. "It's a joke, big fella. You're supposed to say, 'Who's there?'" More static. "This is War Marshal Zethkar of the Calastron Empire. You will surrender immediately or face total—" "Who's there?" John interrupted. "What?" In the knock-knock joke. You're supposed to say, "Who's there?" "Come on, work with me here." A long pause filled the air. Crew members held their breath. "Who is there?" Zethkar finally said, sounding confused. "Interrupting cow," John replied with a straight face. "Interrupting cow who?" "Moo!" John shouted. Silence. Then strange sounds came from the speakers. It sounded like machinery grinding, but Lisa recognized it from her xenobiology studies. That was Calistron laughter. "You interrupt your own joke?" Zethkar asked. "This seems inefficient." "Oh, you haven't seen anything yet. Want another?" "Captain," Jeff whispered. "What are you doing?" "Buying time," John whispered back. "And maybe saving our butts." The alien ships stopped moving. They hung in space like dark storm clouds. "Why did the chicken cross the road?" John asked, "What is a chicken?" "It's a bird. With feathers, makes eggs. Why did it cross?" "To get to the other side." More grinding sounds. "This is the answer? There is no deeper meaning?" "Nope. Sometimes a joke is just a joke." "War Marshal." Another alien voice came through. "Their broadcasts. We have been monitoring Earth communications. There are thousands of these jokes." "What kind of jokes?" Zethkar demanded. "All kinds, sir. One's about food, one's about work, many about something called fathers making puns." "Puns?" "Wordplay jokes, sir. Very bad ones." John grinned. "Oh man, wait till you hear about dad jokes. What do you call a bear with no teeth?" "I do not know." "A gummy bear." The grinding sound came again, louder this time. "Gummy? Because it has no teeth. This is amusing. You guys want to hear what humans watch for fun?" "Lisa, Patch through some Earth TV. Lisa looked at him in disbelief. Which shows, sir? Start with the classics. Three Stooges, then some stand-up comedy. Maybe throw in a blooper reel. As Lisa worked, she wondered if her captain had lost his mind, but the alien ships hadn't fired yet. In fact, they seemed fascinated. Pietro. Bridge speakers filled with sounds from Earth. First came the slapstick of the Three Stooges, people poking eyes, bonking heads, and hitting each other with rubber hammers. Strange clicking sounds came from the alien ships. They hurt each other for entertainment? Zethkar asked. It's fake. They're pretending. For laughs. And this creates amusement? Humans love physical comedy. Nobody really gets hurt. Watch. This part. Moe's gonna hit Curly with a pie. The pie hit the screen. Static and clicking filled the channel. War Marshal, the underling said. Our tactical computers are having trouble processing this. The humans expend resources on fake violence that creates positive emotional responses. Patch through that stand-up comedy now, John ordered. Soon, George Carlin's voice filled the bridge, talking about 7 words you can't say on television. The crew listened in amazement as alien clicking increased. These words are forbidden? On broadcast TV, yeah. But he says them anyway? For comedy, it's his thing. Things that are forbidden are funny. Sometimes, if done right. Our tactical systems are showing rising levels of confusion. This is not standard conquest procedure. John leaned back in his chair. The alien ships hadn't moved in 30 minutes. Tell you what, Zethkar, how about we call a temporary ceasefire, maybe arrange a proper meeting? I've got a whole season of sitcoms I could show you. Sitcoms? Situation comedies. People living together, getting into funny problems. Your entire civilization creates entertainment from problems? We create entertainment from everything. That's kind of our thing. Static filled the air. You know, the background of the alien transmission. They could hear clicking and grinding. Multiple Calistron talking at once. Captain Mitchell, Zethkar said finally, your species uses humor as its primary defense? Defense? No, we use humor because it's fun, makes life better, helps us deal with problems. You have problems? Of course. Everyone has problems. We just laugh at them. More grinding sounds. This is novel. We must consult our military manuals. They have no protocol for enemies who respond to invasion with jokes. Take your time, John said. I've got about 50 years of comedy specials to share. Ever heard of a ventriloquist? A what? Someone who makes it look like a puppet is talking. Why? Because it's funny. Everything is funny to you? Not everything. But we try to find humor where we can. Makes the universe a bit less scary, you know? The alien ships began to slowly retreat to a safer distance, their weapons powered down. This was definitely not how anyone expected first contact to go. We are processing this information, Zethkar announced. Maintain position, do not approach. We will watch your humorous transmissions and determine proper response. John shared a look with his crew. They had bought themselves some time. Earth was still intact, and the most powerful alien empire they'd ever encountered was currently binge-watching I Love Lucy reruns. Sir, Lisa said quietly, I've never been to the Calistron homeworld, but I bet they don't have Saturday Night Live there. Probably not, John replied. But they're about to discover it. As the alien ships maintained their distance, Earth's comedy archive began flowing through space. Somewhere in the vast fleet, alien warriors were having their first experience, with banana peel gags, one-liners, and the universal truth that sometimes laughter really is the best defense. The invasion hadn't ended. But for now, instead of plasma cannon fire, the void between worlds was filled with canned sitcom laughter and the confused clicking of aliens discovering that humans had weaponized the art of being ridiculous. 3 days later, Ambassador Kate Sullivan stood in front of the United Nations building. She carried no weapons, no shields, no protective gear, just a projector, a laptop, and a bag full of USB drives. The world watched as she prepared for the most important diplomatic mission in human history. You're really going in there with nothing but jokes? General Henry Walsh asked from behind her. Not just jokes, General. Hope. Kate adjusted her blazer. Sometimes peace begins with a smile. In orbit, Admiral George Thompson sat in his command center aboard the USS Constellation. While Kate distracted the aliens with comedy, he was secretly moving Earth's entire defense fleet into position. Every ship humanity owned was gathering in the shadow of the moon, prepared for anything. Admiral, his second-in-command, Ryan Peterson, reported, "The Calistron are still processing our comedy shows. They've requested the complete works of something called Monty Python. Then give it to them. Every episode. Every movie. By Kate, all the time we can get." Back on Earth, Kate entered a newly built dome outside the UN. Inside, a holographic projection of War Marshal Zethkar appeared. His massive form towered over her even though it was just light and energy. Ambassador Sullivan, the massive alien, said, "You come before the Calistron Empire with no army? I bring something better than an army, War Marshal." Kate set up her equipment. "I bring understanding." She clicked a button, and the lights dimmed. The first presentation showed a simple PowerPoint with terrible puns. The slide read, "Why don't scientists trust atoms because they make up everything?" Zethkar's hologram flickered slightly. Kate heard familiar clicking sounds. "This is your weapon? Information about atoms? No, it's a joke. Make-up has two meanings, see? Atoms literally make up everything, but the phrase also means to lie or invent things. Two meanings. This creates humor? In English, yes. Many jokes use words with double meanings. Inefficient, Zethkar muttered. Our language has no such confusion." "Maybe that's why you don't have jokes," Kate suggested. She clicked to the next slide. Knock, knock. "Who is there?" Zethkar responded automatically. "Europe." "Europe who?" "No. Europe who?" Silence fell over the assembly hall. Then slowly, Zethkar's hologram began to shake. The clicking sound grew louder. You called me excrement? It's wordplay. You are a poo sounds like Europe who. It's ridiculous, which makes it funny." Dr. Nicole Wright watched from her lab where she monitored the encounter. She noted the alien's brain activity spiked each time Kate delivered a punchline. The Calistron nervous system wasn't designed for humor. It was causing something like a mild electrical overload. "Fascinating," she whispered into her recorder. "Their logic centers activate simultaneously with their emotional processors. No wonder they're confused. They're using mathematical centers to process humor." Meanwhile, in space, Ryan Peterson had discovered something incredible. When the Calistron ships listened to comedy, their targeting systems went offline for several seconds after each good punchline. Captain, the Discovery, reports that alien weapon systems temporarily disengage during laughter responses. "Confirmed, sir," Navigator Sam Parker added. "The USS Hawaii ran a test. They played them airplane while performing maneuvers. The alien tracking was completely ineffective." Ryan Peterson smiled. "Start Operation Punchline. Deploy our special." Comedy weapon system-wide. Back in the dome, Kate had moved on to stand-up comedy routines. She played George Carlin talking about the differences between baseball and football. Zethkar listened intently. "The human hurls the object to the human with the wood stick. For entertainment?" Zethkar asked. "It's called baseball. But this joke is about how we use different words for the same action in different sports. Different words for throwing? In baseball you pitch. In football you pass. In basketball you toss. See? Different games. Different words." The War Marshals. Hologram tilted its head. "This is humor? The absurdity of human language is humor to us. We laugh at our own confusions." Kate clicked to a new video. "Now I want to show you slapstick comedy. This is the Three Stooges." The famous slapping sounds filled the room. Zethkar watched in fascination as Moe, Larry, and Curly hit each other with hammers, poked eyes, and bonked heads. They assault each other. Repeatedly. It's fake. They're comedians. Watch. Kate paused on a frame where you could see the safety padding behind. Curly's head. The hammers are rubber, the hits are staged, nobody gets hurt. Fictional violence for amusement, Zethkar mused. Our scans show this causes positive neural reactions in your species. Exactly. We evolved to enjoy safe versions of scary things. Horror movies, roller coasters, comedy that looks painful but isn't. While Kate taught alien diplomacy through dad jokes, Chief Petty Officer Mike Robinson aboard the USS Phoenix was perfecting his new weapon. He called it the Joke Torpedo. The device contained no explosives, just speakers and a database of groan-worthy puns. Test number 5, Mike announced to his crew. Launch when ready. The torpedo sailed toward an empty section of space where a Calistron scout ship patrolled. When it reached proximity, it activated. What did the grape say when it got stepped on? Nothing, it just let out a little whine. The scout ship immediately veered off course. Its pilot broadcast, "What manner of weapon causes such irritation? My third processing unit hurts." "Success," Mike shouted. "The puns are physically painful to them." In the assembly hall, Kate had reached the grand finale of her presentation. She dimmed the lights completely. "War Marshal, I want to show you humanity's greatest comedy achievement, the art form that combines wordplay, physical comedy, and social commentary." She played Robin Williams performing live. The alien watched, transfixed, as Williams jumped between characters, accents, and topics at lightning speed. The comedian talked about politics, family, and everyday life with energy that seemed impossible. Zethkar's hologram flickered constantly as Williams rapid-fired jokes. How does he process so many concepts and simultaneously? That's human comedy at its peak. Quick thinking, observation, empathy, all delivered with perfect timing. Empathy, understanding others, seeing humor in shared experiences. Williams talks about things everyone can relate to, family, work, daily troubles, and makes us laugh at our common struggles. Williams continued, "If you pay attention to comedy, you understand people better. We're all afraid of the same things. Death, insignificance, bad breath." The War Marshal's clicking grew louder. "This comedy teaches social understanding?" "Among other things, yes." When Williams finished his routine with a rapid-fire series of impressions, Zethkar sat in stunned silence. "Ambassador Sullivan," he finally said, "our Emperor must see this. Comedy appears to be more complex than our intelligence reported. Will you take our comedy back to your empire?" "Yes, but beware, we still have warships. And we still have jokes," Kate countered. "Maybe someday you'll realize which weapon is stronger." As the diplomatic session ended and Kate left the dome, she felt hopeful for the first time since the ships arrived. In space, Admiral Thompson's fleet continued secretly mobilizing while broadcasting constant comedy streams. Every human ship now carried defensive joke torpedoes. That night, as Earth slept fitfully under alien ships, the Calistron tried to create their first joke. The attempt broadcast across all frequencies. Why did the Calistron War Marshal cross the void? After a long pause. To get to the other solar system? No, came the disappointed response. To analyze the comedic structures of primitive species he plans to conquer. This form is difficult, but they were trying, and that was something. Back in her lab, Dr. Nicole Wright made a breakthrough discovery. Sustained exposure to humor altered Calistron brain chemistry. They were developing something they'd never had before, the capacity for playful thinking. For the first time in their harsh, battle-focused evolution, they were learning to play. "General Walsh," she reported, "if we can keep them laughing long enough, they might forget why they came to invade." The general looked at the comedy statistics flooding his screen. "Then let's give them enough jokes to last a lifetime." On the USS Discovery, Fleet Captain Ryan Peterson initiated the next phase of Operation Punchline. Every ship in the secret fleet began broadcasting comedy routines on repeat. Earth's greatest comedic minds working together to confuse and disarm an entire empire. "Sir," Sam Parker reported, "the aliens are requesting more." They particularly want to understand something called sitcoms. Give them Seinfeld, Ryan ordered. Start with the episodes about nothing. Let them figure out everyday humor. And so the strangest war in human history continued. Not with explosions and destruction, but with laugh tracks and punchlines. Kate Sullivan had proven that sometimes the best defense was to make your enemy snort with laughter at toilet humor. Somewhere between the stars and Earth, a fleet of warships designed for conquest slowly transformed into an audience for history's longest comedy special. 2 weeks after first contact, something strange happened in the Calistron fleet. A destroyer named Voidhammer began broadcasting back human jokes. But they were wrong. Why did the chicken cross the solar system? Came the transmission. To calculate optimal trajectory vectors for poultry migration patterns. Captain John Mitchell nearly fell out of his chair laughing. Did you hear that? They're trying. Sir, Jeff Wilson said from Tactical, it's working too well. 3 of their scout ships just crashed into each other while trying to perform their own version of the Three Stooges. Physical comedy doesn't translate well for them, Lisa Martinez observed. She had been monitoring Calastron communication frequencies and noticed something fascinating. The aliens were sharing their failed jokes with each other, trying to understand why humans laughed. Meanwhile, Commander Steve Johnson had developed the next phase of Earth's defense. His team created the most powerful weapon in human history, the Great Comedy Database. Every joke ever recorded cataloged by type, delivery, and level of groan inducement. We've got everything from clean family jokes to R-rated roasts, Steve explained to his team. The Calastron can't handle puns. They completely short-circuit at wordplay. Private Laura Kim raised her hand. What about dad jokes? They seem confused by those. Dad jokes are our secret weapon. Deploy them carefully. Too many at once could cause system overload. In space, Navigator Sam Parker guided the USS Discovery through its first comedy offensive. They loaded joke torpedoes and prepared to test Earth's theory. Could humor actually disable alien weapons? All crew, this is Captain Peterson. Launch. Joke torpedo pattern Omega. Let's see if we can make them laugh so hard they forget to shoot. The torpedo swooshed through space and activated near the Calastron battlecruiser Thunderstrike. Immediately, terrible jokes filled their communication systems. What do you call a factory that makes good products? A satisfactory? Why don't eggs tell jokes? They'd crack each other up. The battlecruiser's response came immediately. These linguistic duplications are causing processor strain. Request immediate cessation of groan-inducing wordplay. Direct hit, Sam Parker reported. Their weapons are powering down again. They can't shoot while processing bad puns. Back on Earth, Ensign Tyler Adams discovered something remarkable. The alien ships had begun leaving voice messages, not demands for surrender, but questions about comedy technique. Human friends? War Marshal Zethkar's message began. We require clarification. Your George Carlin speaks of 7 words. We have translated these words. They are merely descriptive terms. Why are they forbidden? Tyler couldn't help laughing. Should we tell them about context and social taboos? No, John Mitchell smiled. Let them figure it out. The confusion keeps them occupied. Chief Engineer Mike Robinson had built something new. Joke mines. Small devices that attached to Calastron hulls and delivered random jokes upon activation. The first test came when a scout ship approached too close to Earth's moon. Beep. What's orange and... Sounds like a parrot? The Calastron scout immediately transmitted, We do not comprehend. Please specify chromatic specifications and acoustic parameters. Beep. A carrot. Silence. Then, this is simplistic humor. Yet we find ourselves experiencing what humans call face palm. Our appendage has made contact with our facial reception area involuntarily. They've discovered cringe humor, Mike laughed. They're more advanced than we thought. As days passed, the war that wasn't quite a war continued. The Calastron fleet maintained position, neither attacking nor leaving. Instead, they seemed to have opened a cosmic comedy school. Ships broadcast their attempts at humor. Testing. What contains more energy, a photon or a punchline? The punchline because it delivers impact without physical contact. Query: does this qualify as humor? Human responses flooded back. Close, you're getting the structure, but the setup needs work. Dr. Nicole Wright's research revealed why this worked so well. Calastron brains processed jokes like mathematical puzzles. Each setup created expectations. Each punchline required resolution. For a species built on logic, humor was the ultimate mental exercise. General Walsh, she reported, they're becoming addicted to puzzle-solving humor. Riddles work especially well. They can't stop until they solve them. Then keep them guessing, General Walsh replied. The next psychological operation involved sitcoms. Humans began broadcasting Frasier and Friends to the alien fleet. The concept of characters living together, having small problems and resolving them with humor was completely alien to the Calastron. What manner of content is this? Zethkar demanded. The central perk location serves no strategic purpose. Why do they return there repeatedly? It's where they gather, Kate Sullivan explained during another diplomatic meeting. Friends meet, talk, share jokes. It's called socializing. Socializing serves no military function, but it serves a happiness function. That's why they keep going back. The war marshal sat silent for a long moment. We have no central perks. Maybe you need some. This conversation marked a turning point. The Calastron began asking about human, social structures, not military ones. They wanted to understand why humans valued humor so highly. Meanwhile, Ryan Peterson launched Slapstick Initiative Beta. The USS Seattle transmitted the complete works of the Marx Brothers to the alien command. The response was immediate. This artistic performance shows coordinated chaos. Groucho character insults everyone while playing piano. Is this effective leadership technique? It's comedy leadership, Ryan replied. Not recommended for actual warfare. Noted. We shall explore alternatives. The real breakthrough came when the Calastron tried performing comedy themselves. War Marshal Zethkar announced, "We present our first original joke. Alert status, humorous content incoming. Why did the quantum particle attend diplomacy school?" Humans waited with bated breath, because it wanted to exist in multiple states of agreement. A cheer went up across Earth's command centers. They had learned to make jokes, not good ones, but jokes. That's amazing, Tyler Adams transmitted back. You're understanding puns now. We experience satisfaction, Zethkar responded, but also confusion. Is it normal for jokes to make one's cerebral cortex feel ticklish? This marked the first time Calastron admitted having enjoyable confusion. Their war computers struggled to categorize this new data. Pleasure responses from failed logic puzzles, enjoyment from imperfect linguistic constructs. Their military effectiveness dropped every time they tried to understand a knock-knock joke. Chief Mike Robinson deployed his masterpiece that week, the pun minefield. Hundreds of small devices floating in space, each armed with multiple bad puns ready to trigger. The first Calastron ship to encounter the field sent an urgent message. Warning! Linguistic space anomaly detected. Ship's Iron Will and Deathbringer caught in rapid-fire wordplay vortex. Crews experiencing acute groaning. Request immediate evacuating. What's the worst one they hit? Steve Johnson asked. Iron Will reports, what did the janitor say when he jumped out of the closet? Supplies. They can't handle closet joke setup. Too much hidden information for their logical processors. Across the Calastron fleet, a wonderful phenomenon occurred. Ships that had been prepared for conquest were now sharing embarrassed transmissions about joke failures. Pride in their logical superiority slowly transformed into curiosity about humor's mysterious rules. Human comedy instructors. Broadcast. The destroyer Voidhammer. We attempted telling jokes to our crew. Results. 3 navigation officer seizures, 1 tactical computer reboot, and possible development of what you call sense of humor. Please advise on dosage control. Kate Sullivan sat in her office at the UN, monitoring the comedy chaos with growing amazement. The Calastron were experiencing their first cultural revolution, caused entirely by knock-knock jokes and sitcom reruns. Kate, her assistant Jack Murphy entered. The Calistron have submitted their first comedy performance request. They want to do stand-up, live, in front of humans. Kate smiled. Now that would be something. Above Earth, the massive warships that had come to conquer maintained position. But now they carried students instead of soldiers. Aliens learning that sometimes the best weapon was the one that made everyone laugh instead of cry. As night fell over the Pacific, a message came from the Calistron Emperor himself. We have reviewed what you call the Comedy Central Presents. We request tutorial on something called roasting, for scientific understanding, not conquest. Of course, the humans replied. Let's start with some friendly insults. Rule 1. Never mention someone's actual weapon systems. That's just rude. And so the strangest war in galactic history entered its next phase. The aliens hadn't surrendered, but they had enrolled. Comedy boot camp was now in session, and the fate of Earth might lie in teaching a warrior race how to deliver punchlines instead of plasma blasts. 3 weeks into the comedy offensive, the Calistron Empire struck back. War Marshal Zethkar announced the deployment of their secret weapon, the Seriousness Cannon. Attention Earth forces, boomed the transmission. We have identified humor as a weakness in your defensive capabilities. Prepare for total elimination of comedic content. The massive cannon, mounted on their flagship Dominator, began charging. Energy readings were off the charts. Sir, Jeff, Wilson reported to John Mitchell. That thing could vaporize our entire joke database in one shot. Without humor, we'd have no defense. Not on my watch, John said firmly. Lisa, connect me with Senator Jessica Lee on the surface. Within minutes, Earth's emergency response system activated. Senator Lee, who had been secretly organizing Earth's greatest comedians as military advisors, launched Human Comedy's nuclear option, the Infinite Jest Protocol. Attention all platforms, Senator Lee announced. Code red funny. This is not a drill. Deploy all comedians to active duty. Every comic, every humorist, every person who's ever killed at an open mic night, report for service. From comedy clubs to television studios, from Netflix specials to underground performance spaces, humanity's funniest people mobilized. They had 24 hours before the Seriousness Cannon would fire. Ensign Tyler Adams, working with the NASA team, discovered a concerning pattern. The cannon targeting system had one weakness. It couldn't lock onto moving humor. Physical comedy created sensor interference. The more the jokes move, the more their targeting system fails, Tyler explained. We need dynamic comedy. Laura Kim, now promoted to comedy warfare specialist, had a brilliant idea. What if we make the aliens laugh at themselves? Their own targeting system would block the cannon. It's risky, Mike Robinson warned, but teaching an enemy to laugh at himself is the oldest trick in the Peace Book. That night, Earth launched Operation Self-Deprecation. Every ship broadcast Calistron jokes back to the fleet, but with gentle additions. Why did the Calistron War Marshal take vacation time? Because even conquerors need work-life balance. This joke sponsored by your own joke torpedo division. You've been hit by, you've been struck by, a dad joke. The response was immediate. Calistron ships began giggling at their own failed conquest. Some started creating memes of their emperor with funny captions. It was open rebellion through humor. The destroyer Voidhammer reports mutiny. Came an urgent alien transmission. Half the crew insists on watching Monty Python instead of battle drills. They're arguing about whether the Spanish Inquisition was expected. Help us, human friends. This is working too well, Sam Parker warned from the Discovery. Their strict military structure can't handle having fun. The Calistron attempted countermeasures. They created anti-humor pods to shield their crucial ships from joke contamination. But Human Comedy found a way through. Knock knock. Came a transmission from the USS Phoenix to the shielded dreadnought Ironwill. We are protected from your knock knock, humans repeated. We do not respond to who's there came from somewhere inside Ironwill itself. Let us who? Another alien voice joined. Let us in. It's cold out here. The shielding failed. The entire crew burst into clicking laughter. This is Superior Officer Kreth. All hands on deck. Emergency laughter protocol. Shields compromised by vegetable door jokes. Meanwhile, the comedy boot camp continued. Stand-up classes were held via hologram. The aliens learned about timing, delivery, and reading the room. Their first graduate was Sub-Commander Veeth from the scout ship Quicksilver. Human friends, Veeth began. I attempt stand-up routine. Testing. What did the black hole say to the star? I find you attractive. Please indicate laughter level achieved. Not bad, Tyler transmitted. Try this. What did the astronomy book say to the math book? Wow, you've got problems. But math doesn't have vocal capability. Veeth responded, confused. That's the joke. Ah, came the response, followed by satisfied clicking. Humor remains difficult. We persist. By week 4, something unprecedented happened. A civil comedy war broke out within the Calistron Empire. The traditionalist faction led by General Extoth hated this new weakness. They armed themselves with serious speeches and logic puzzles, attempting to restore military discipline. This isn't a war anymore, Extoth declared. Our warriors quote sitcoms instead of battle hymns. They doodle funny faces on strategic maps. They're calling our plasma cannons pew-pew sticks. This ends now. But humor had taken root too deeply. When Extoth attempted to perform a strictly logical argument against laughing, someone in the back quipped, "Who hurt this guy? Did his favorite calculator break?" The laughter was infectious. Even Extoth's stern face cracked into what humans would recognize as an attempted smile. As the Calastron fractured between the serious and the silly, Earth prepared for the worst. The seriousness cannon was almost charged. Humanity needed one. Final push. Kate Sullivan proposed the ultimate gambit, a galaxy-wide open mic night. Every ship, human and alien, would participate. Comedy as the great equalizer. This is insane, General Walsh muttered, but approved the plan. If we're going to die, let it be laughing. On the night of the great galactic comedy show, as Earth called it, the seriousness cannon powered up to fire. The aliens had programmed it to eliminate all humor within a 50 light-minute radius. Good evening, everybody. Comedian Chris Rock's voice boomed across space. I was going to tell jokes about the Calistron, but I heard they already know all of them. They've got a PhD in puns now. Laughter filled human ships. The Calistron vessels remained suspiciously quiet. You know what I don't understand? Rock continued. These aliens came all this way to conquer us, and now they're arguing about whether Jerry Seinfeld or Larry David wrote the best episodes. That's not invasion. That's Netflix addiction. More silence from alien ships. The cannon powered higher. But seriously, Rock's tone softened. Thanks to the Calistron, humans finally have someone to explain their worst jokes to. After thousands of years, someone actually wants to know why the chicken crossed the road. That's better diplomacy than any peace treaty. From the flagship Dominator, War Marshal Zethkar prepared to fire the cannon. His finger hovered over the trigger as Earth's greatest comedians performed. Dave Chappelle took the stage. You know what's wild? The Calistron Emperor sent warships to Earth, but we sent back a catalog of dad jokes. Imagine being the most powerful being in the galaxy, facing your greatest enemy, and your response is, I am Grout. Because you're in the middle of a knock-knock. Joke setup. Across the alien fleet, clicking and whistling sounds grew louder. Were they nervous? Kevin Hart jumped in. I'd be scared of the Calastron too, but have you seen them try to dance? They move like robots learning to breakdance through an instruction manual. The clicking turned to chittering. The clicking turned to laughter. No, General Extoth commanded. Fire the cannon. Fire it now. But General, his operator said, I want to hear the punchline to the why did the alien cross the galaxy joke. Fire. The seriousness cannon powered to maximum charge. The moment came. The trigger was pulled, nothing happened. Sir, the operator reported, the cannon it's smiling. The targeting system has achieved humor awareness. It refuses to eliminate fun. The greatest weapon of war, designed to crush humor, had instead learned to appreciate it. The cannon's screen displayed a simple ASCII emoticon. From millions of miles away came Zethkar's tired voice. Human friends, we acknowledge defeat. Not by your weapons, but by your weird ability to make us laugh at ourselves. The Empire has fallen to knock-knock jokes. But sir, humans transmitted, who's there? No, Zethkar groaned. No more. Our mental processors cannot. Who's there? Repeated human voices across the fleet. Long silence. Then resignedly. Who is there? Orange? Orange who? Orange, you glad we didn't use our plasma cannons? The silence stretched. Then came the most amazing sound in first contact history. The War Marshal of the Calistron Empire letting out a genuine belly laugh. We are Orange, we didn't. He managed to get out between waves of clicking laughter. And with that terrible pun, the war that wasn't quite a war began its end. The cannon that couldn't fire, the jokes that conquered an empire, and the universal language of laughter had won the day. So what now? Kate Sullivan asked as the alien ships began transmitting plans for withdrawal. Now, Zethkar responded, we return home to build our first comedy club. We're calling it The War and Punchlines. Opening night is in 6 cycles. All humans invited. Bring your best material. And War Marshal Extoth will be performing. Please be gentle with your heckling. Earth's response was immediate. The Space Hecklers Union is booking flights as we speak. Hope you're ready for some comedy roasting alien style. As night fell over Earth one more time, a planet that had faced extinction celebrating with tears of joy instead of grief. The mightiest fleet in the galaxy was returning home not as conquerors, but as amateur comedians, and humanity had learned the universe's greatest truth. Sometimes the best way to disarm your enemy was to teach them to laugh at themselves. The invasion had ended not with a bang, but with a punchline. 6 months later, the biggest fleet the galaxy had ever seen approached Earth, but this time the ships weren't painted for war. They were covered in neon lights and carried giant screens showing stand-up performances. The tourists had arrived. Ambassador Kate Sullivan stood at the newly built Universal Comedy Center. She watched as hundreds of Calastran ships formed orderly parking formations in Earth's orbit. Each alien vessel now had modified docking ports designed specifically for comedy tour buses. Never thought I'd live to see this, muttered Secretary of Defense Henry Walsh standing beside her. The first shuttle landed at Kennedy Space Center, which had been quickly converted to the galaxy's first interstellar comedy terminal. War Marshal. Zethkar stepped out wearing what humans could only describe as a cosmic tourist shirt, covered in terrible puns and smiling suns. Ambassador Sullivan, Zethkar called out. We have returned. Our empire now has 17 comedy clubs and 3 improv theaters. I bring applications for the Comedy Education Exchange Program. Behind him, dozens of aliens disembarked. Each carried recording devices, notepads, and excitement that vibrated through their exoskeletons. Welcome back, War Marshal. Kate smiled. I hear you've started performing. Indeed. I perform under the stage name Zeth the Jester. Last week I performed for the Emperor himself. He granted me permission to replace our military boot camp with comedy training. New recruits now learn the art of one-liners instead of battle cries, while diplomats handled the massive logistics of the comedy tourism program. Captain John Mitchell received his biggest surprise yet. Sub-Commander Veith, who had conquered Netflix's entire comedy collection during the invasion, requested to join Earth's own USS Columbus as the first Calastran member of a human crew. Permission granted. John shook what passed for Veith's hand. But I hope you're ready for constant Earth jokes. I have prepared, Veith announced. Check this. Why did the Calastron join the human ship? For the crusade and space puns. The bridge crew groaned collectively. Veith's mandibles clicked with joy. Successful groaning achieved. Ryan Peterson, now promoted to Admiral of Earth's Entertainment Defense Force, oversaw the biggest transformation in military history. The USS Discovery's weapon bays were being converted to comedy clubs. The USS Phoenix's torpedo tubes now launched glitter cannons for the grand finale of shows. Admiral, Sam Parker reported, the Calastron have requested our missile guidance systems to help them create automated timing for joke deliveries. Give them what they need, Ryan replied. though. I never thought we'd weaponize rim shots. The greatest change appeared at the War Marshal's former flagship. The massive dreadnought Dominator had been completely renovated and renamed the War and Punchlines Comedy Cruiser. Its main hangar now hosted a 5,000-seat amphitheater where former General X-Toth performed nightly. "How does the crowd like X-Toth's act?" Jeff Wilson asked Commander Steve Johnson during their first comedy cruise inspection. "He's actually really good. His opening line is, 'I used to command battleships. Now I command the stage.' Turns out both require perfect timing, one for explosions, one for punchlines." Tyler Adams had become Earth's first comedy ambassador to the Calistron homeworld. He worked with Dr. Nicole Wright to establish the Galactic Institute of Humor. Their research proved that laughter could bridge any cultural gap. "We're writing the first universal joke dictionary," Nicole explained at the Institute's grand opening. "Did you know Calistron actually have 47 words for different types of clicking? Laughter?" The comedy exchange program grew beyond anyone's expectations. Human comedians toured alien systems while Calistron comics learned Earth's venues. The biggest shock came when War Marshal Zethkar announced his comedy special. From War to Wit, A Marshal's Journey. The special broke all viewing records, streaming across hundreds of planets. Zethkar's opening joke became legendary. "When I first heard Earth's knock-knock jokes, I thought they were a primitive greeting protocol. Turned out the real primitive was me. Spent my whole life thinking conquest was powerful. Ends up making people laugh is way harder than making them afraid." Laura Kim, now director of Joke Torpedo Research, converted her department into the galaxy's first comedy tech lab. They developed sound effects generators, virtual reality joke simulations, and the punchline perfect timing algorithm. "We're working on a universal translator that preserves humor," she explained to visiting dignitarians. "Jokes should be funny in every language, not just technically accurate." The transformation of space travel itself became something extraordinary. Former battlecruisers now offered comedy cruises through asteroid fields with stand-up performances between tourist stops. Pilots who once calculated invasion trajectories now calculated optimal timing for deadpan delivery. "Sir," Private Tony Chen reported to Admiral Peterson, "the Calistron have submitted their first original sitcom script. It's about 5 former warriors living together in a space station, learning to do normal jobs." "What's it called?" "General Confusion, sir. They want our sitcom writers to help them punch up the jokes." The biggest celebration came on the 1-year anniversary of First Contact. Humans and Calistron gathered at the new Galactic Comedy Council headquarters, built exactly halfway between Earth and the Calistron homeworld. Director Mike Robinson unveiled the Peace Through Puns Memorial. The monument featured a giant stone chicken telling the most famous joke in the galaxy, "To get to the other side." Underneath, inscribed in both languages, "The day 2 species stopped fighting and started laughing." Senator Jessica Lee had the honor of introducing the first joint human Calistron comedy team, stand-up duo Crash and Click. Human comedian Phil Martinez and alien comedian Kretk the Wise took the stage to thunderous applause in both species' styles. "What's the difference between human comedians and Calistron comedians?" Phil asked. "Humans use the pause for impact. Calistron click for emphasis," Kretk responded, clicking perfectly on beat. The crowd went wild. Captain John Mitchell sat with Emperor Varkson himself in the VIP section. The once fearsome ruler now wore thick glasses and carried a notebook for jotting down new jokes. "Captain Mitchell," the Emperor said, "your knock-knock jokes nearly destroyed my empire." "In a good way, right?" "In the best way. We lost our fear, but gained something better, the ability to laugh at ourselves. That cannon we built to destroy humor was the stupidest idea we ever had." "What about invading Earth with just warships?" "Second stupidest," the Emperor admitted with what humans recognized as a smile. As the ceremony continued, Kate Sullivan watched from the wings. Ambassador to the Galactic Comedy Council, she reflected on how a simple question, "Knock knock," had changed everything. Former Sub-Commander Veith approached her. "Ambassador, I have been practicing Earth customs. May I perform a victory speech?" "Go ahead, Veith." Veith clicked his mandibles nervously. Him. 1 year ago we came to conquer. You gave us cartoons, we brought weapons, you sent punchlines, we expected defeat. Instead we found friendship and humor and Netflix subscription services. The crowd laughed. The truth is, Veith continued, the Calastron had forgotten how to play. Our military precision left no room for silliness. You didn't just defend yourselves with jokes, you reminded us how to be happy. For this, we thank you. Also, we apologize for trying to conquer you. That was very rude. Later that night, as fireworks made from reconfigured joke torpedoes lit up the sky, John Mitchell and Zethkar shared one last moment at the bar. What's the one Earth joke you still don't get? John asked. All of them, Zethkar admitted. But I've learned that's the beauty of humor. You don't always have to understand it to enjoy it. Here's to humanity's greatest achievement, John raised his glass. Teaching an entire war fleet to go from surrender now to tell me another one. To comedy, Zethkar clicked his version of a glass. The universal language that speaks volumes without saying anything serious. As the celebration continued into the night, ships from dozens of species arrived. The former invasion force had become a touring comedy company, spreading laughter across the galaxy. Every warship had been converted to a venue, every weapon system repurposed for effect. And in the vastness of space, where once only the silence of the void reigned, something new flourished. The sound of 100 different species laughing, together at the same terrible jokes. The Empire had brought warships. Humans had brought jokes. And in the end, there was no question which was the more powerful weapon. The universe had learned there was nothing more dangerous than making an enemy laugh so hard they forgot why they were fighting. And that was how Earth saved itself, not through military might, not through advanced technology, but through humanity's greatest superpower, the ability to find something funny in the face of extinction itself.